making a fire, see, and I had Samson here and that little dog Blackie, and Samson was about, I'd say, 0.825 grown. Okay.
Fifth third.
0.825, and all of a sudden there was a spray of water, and a gator had like exploded out of the water. He was on the bottom and pushed off and did like this. Very similar to the other one. You'll notice the same motion like that. And right behind Samson, who leapt like a deer, you know, with his two hind legs. And the gator was standing on all four legs. His belly was like this far off the ground. When they measured him later, he was 10 feet. But at the time that he came out, he was, a full 18. I was standing there, and I had the Jeep.
All teeth.
The Jeep was parked down to right about here, and I was right over there. The water was about a foot or so lower at the time. So where he came out right about where that pipe is, that little white pipe that has a tape measure fastened to it for keeping track of the depth. And I could smell him. And it was in the afternoon. It was a little bit later in the afternoon. I remember exactly what the sunlight looked like hitting the Spanish moss. There was a bird off in the distance, went a white one, and I caught him in my periphery. I know exactly how everything smelled, and how I felt, and how my skin was, and him looking at my knees because he was facing up the hill.
Him, the gator, or him, Sam?
The gator, at the dog who kept running and barked. Blackie started barking like that, and he was maybe 20 feet over here towards this tree. And I said, "No, Blackie," and the gator turned and pointed right at me, like with his, teeth and his eyes right about a little bit higher than my knee.
How far from you?
Well, I was right down in here, and he was right over there. About as long as a truck and a half.
You in the water?
Car and a half. No, I was on the bank. I was just starting a fire, burning some brush. And so I was calculating, should I jump into the back of the Jeep because the thing was open? But I knew if he did try to get me, if I put my foot on the back bumper, he'd get my leg, because they're fast, especially in that first distance. So I had just all this calculating going on. I'll run past the Jeep and then run on the hood because that's make a 90-degree turn. And he just went down into the water. He just lowered himself and slid right into the water, made hardly a ripple. So we caught him. I called the people, and within 45 minutes there were some good old boys from Hawthorne. "You got a gator out here?" So they're smoking their cigarettes and talking about it, and they brought a cooler with a beef lung in it. You use a beef lung because it'll smell for a long time, and a gator can smell it. And they put just a little number 3 hook on there, fastened it in there, threw it out, and they used a line that, it was just a really thing. It's about like a 150-pound test, black string kind of thing. But apparently when the gator, we were talking and standing around, so the gator didn't go for it, but about 3 hours later I came down here. Oh, here comes the hens through the woods. I came down and he had taken it. It took 4 of them to lift the thing up and carry it, put it into the truck after they shot it. But I'm getting ahead of myself, I suppose. I didn't know I was going to tell this part. When the gator took it, then I saw that the string was all taut, so I called him. He came back, and there was a bunch of us down here. And he just starts tugging on it, and the gator just follows. And then when he got near the surface, he started throwing his head side to side. But as soon as he stuck his head out, now they use the .22, and these are professionals. They know nothing. If you shoot him in the skull, it doesn't matter what caliber you got; it's going to stick in the bone. And the only way to get to actually kill it, I'm telling this, the only way to actually kill it is like there's a opening right behind the ear for him to hear, and the brain is right in between those 2 parts. So keep that in mind if they ever change the laws about shooting gators.
So you got to be a pretty good shot. You just don't need a very good.
No, you don't have to, because once it gets out of the water, this guy was standing not more than 10 feet away. That is a short rifle, 22. And bam, that was it, 1 shot.
But it took 4 guys to haul them,
Yeah.
drag them out.
Put them into the truck and measured, and it was 1 or 2 inches shy of 10 feet, almost 10 feet.
What's that translate in terms of fritters?
Fritters? I don't know.
About 3,000?
Enough to last us at least 3 or 4 years.
That's the gator meat you got put up?
I'm gonna take the 5th.
Okay.
They killed him because of the bullet.
Not one part of God.
What did they do with his body? They tag every piece of meat and the hide with a serial number. All the alligators are tracked that get killed.
Because they couldn't have done that a few years back when it was an endangered species.
Well, they can for a nuisance gator. And that was I called them and told them my grandson plays down here. This gator exploded out of the water, tried to eat my dog. This is not cool.
And were these guys?
These guys work for. They don't work for the state. They have a contract. They're nuisance gators, and most of them they try to relocate, but at certain times of the year you don't want to do that because they've all got their territory staked out.
Pretty hard to do once he's got a 22 slug in his brain.
Flags, you know, and proclaim the land for them and their. Yeah, just one. Now,
That was enough.
I had gators in here before, but they were always a little smaller than that and never aggressive. I would wade out in here and drag these floating vines and islands and drag the stuff, gump up on the shore and wade around and try to get that.
You were down here a lot.
I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm scared of them gators.